Hey everybody, welcome back to the Central Texas High School Football Huddle. I'm your host, Chris Daly, and each week I bring you news and information and some cool interviews about Central Texas football. As always, the Centex Huddle is brought to you by Fat Cow Jerky. Also, Corey Pack State Farm Insurance and Grit Football Camps. More about them later. Interviews I have today. Head coach Tony Salazar from Austin Westlake and I spoke. Galen Zimmerman from Dripping Springs and I had a conversation. And Lone Star Gridiron Steve Thomas grabbed a post-game interview from Drew Sanders of Vandegrift. The Centex Huddle is brought to you by Fat Cow Jerky. Unlike some other jerky brands, they craft their beef jerky with 100% beef, and you can taste it. They use the lean cuts of meat, slice them into strips, and then marinate with select ingredients and a unique blend of herbs and spices that make for an incredible flavor. And talk about flavor, these guys have it. When you open a bag of Fat Cow Jerky, you get a taste of American ingenuity, perfected recipes, and a passion for making the ultimate flavored meat snacks. Fat Cow Jerky is a small business with a big heart and a love for high-quality, delicious snacks. Fat Cow Jerky is utterly perfect. Find your next favorite flavor at fatcowjerky.com. We're also brought to you by State Farm agent Corey Pack. State Farm agent Corey Pack is a proud supporter of Texas high school football and the Central Texas High School Football Huddle. For insurance on all the things that matter, you can count on Corey Pack from State Farm. I've known Corey for several years now, and I tell you, there is nobody better to handle your insurance needs. You can call or text him to receive a quote, 512-268-7225, or go online to coreypack.com to connect with him. And as they say, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Before we get into those interviews, let me run through some of the games that happened this week. That Austin Vandegrift team won big against Cedar Park, a Cedar Park team that had dominated this rivalry for a while, but Vandegrift wins big, 45-0. Austin Westlake, as you know, went up against Converse Judson, battle of two great programs. Wow, it did not turn out to be a very good game. Westlake wins easily, 47-14. Cibolo Steel handed Lake Travis another loss. They're 0-2 now. Cibolo Steel wins 35-28. Don't worry, though. That Lake Travis team is for real. Harker Heights, 27. Smithson Valley, 13. Round Rock, 52. San Antonio Reagan, 31. San Antonio Johnson put up 38 against O'Connor's 23. Dripping Springs, that team we mentioned, moved up to 6A. They're 2-0 now. They knocked off Wagner 37-7. Leander 28, Bastrop 23 in a good one. Canyon Lake in a defensive battle wins, scoring 6 points to Fredericksburg's 0. Waco Connolly put up 35 against Waco La Vega 34. What a great contest there. Wimberley continues to roll, this time against the New School Piper 35-0. We'll take a quick break and then we'll have some of those interviews. We also want to thank Grit Football Camps. They provide the opportunity for campers to interact with recruiters, athletic directors, and professional scouts to expand their chances to attend college. In fact, that is the point of Grit Football Camps, is to get their attendees enrolled in college. Whatever level their skills match, they've got ways and connections to help your student athlete make it to college. This camp is dedicated to expanding student athletes' recruitment knowledge and developing leadership skills. Campers will learn how to build relationships with recruiters and prepare for a life on and off the football field. Their camp will call upon the student athletes from area schools to connect them with college recruiters, athletic directors, professional coaches, and scouts that are willing to mentor each student to be successful in college and beyond. Grit football camps are held all around the country. You can check them out at gritfootballcamp.com. First up, I sat down with new head coach Tony Salazar, whose head coaching record is officially 2-0. All right, everybody, welcome Coach Tony Salazar from Austin Westlake to the show. Coach, how are things today?
Great. Beautiful day. Sun's out. The Westlake Chaparrals are about to labor on Labor Day. They're walking to the field right now. They're getting assembled and about to start stretching. So it should be a great day for football.
And they're 2-0, so that doesn't hurt, right?
That's right. Right where we want to be, 2-0. You know, staring at. We got a Thursday night game this week, so short work week. So the importance of today's practice is right there at the very, very top. We can't waste a day of practice this week with the limited days of preparation. So our kids understand that, coaches understand that. We're about to go see if we can accomplish that today.
Definitely. If you could, talk about the Judson game. It seemed pretty one-sided, whereas, you know, when we looked at the Ridgepoint game, y'all started off slow, and then it seemed like suddenly you turned into Austin Westlake and haven't slowed down. Is that the same thing you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they got the ball first and started. Obviously, we were going into a hostile environment, knowing that the tradition that's there at Judson High School, and we knew we had a handful. They had some obviously dynamic athletes over there, and started off with really they scored on the first play of the game. I mean, and it was kind of a throw into the wind that kind of fluttered a little bit, and then just a weird deal, kind of misjudged by our safety. A little corners, a little bit out of position, just with a little disguise of another coverage he was in, and just kind of misjudged it. And then they threw it to obviously number 5 Evans, the Oklahoma commit, and then obviously when he gets loose, we're not catching him. So that was how it started, but obviously our offense responded right away. Our special team responded. I think we had the kickoff return to about the 50 to get right back in it, kind of take the momentum right back with us. And then 2 or 3 plays later, it was a 50-yard throw to Jaden Greathouse down their sideline that kind of got the game tied right back up. So tremendous response by our special teams and our offense to kind of, you know, to stop the momentum before it got going.
If you could, talk about Jaden Greathouse, that punt return.
Absolutely, yeah. It was. We kind of stole a couple of points right there for half. Luckily for us, we were going to call timeout and try to get the ball again and go score before halftime. But luckily for us, they kind of threw some incomplete passes, and I think they ran out of bounds on one. So we had a chance to preserve our timeouts, and we knew we wanted to give him the opportunity, obviously, to touch the ball on the punt return. And we did that. We actually went after the punt return, so he had limited blocking. And that's why you see so many people in that clip around the ball. We went after the block, and we didn't get it, and they launched it. And obviously Jaden did what Jaden does, and he kind of a one-man show on that play. He picked up a couple of late blocks, but I mean, 61 yards later, he's putting us up and really kind of gave us momentum going into halftime. And obviously allowed our kids to kind of come out that second half and finish the football game. Definitely.
If you could talk a little bit about Colton Basic, the defensive end.
Yeah, Colton, just like Jade's a senior team captain for us. Both those guys, I mean, those are your 2 6A, Division II, you know, state championship players of the game last year at the state championships. So obviously the guys have played in big-time moments, and obviously they've excelled at big-time games. And it's no different. The 2 most consistent players we've had the 2 weeks have been number 9, Jaden Greathouse, and number 91, Colton Vosick. Colton's obviously long, athletic. His dad is our defensive line coach. So it's kind of like having, you know, whenever a head coach has a quarterback, you know, that's, you know, his son is playing for him. We feel the same way about Colton on defense. His dad, you know, does a great job with our whole defensive line, but, you know, I think Colton understands the game probably more than most defensive linemen. And so he uses that edge to anticipate, you know, when there's going to be passes and when there's going to be runs, and obviously pins his ears back when he has a chance to go get after a quarterback. And he's so long and athletic and talented that caused a lot of problems for the opposing offense, there's no doubt. And we're glad he's on our team.
Definitely. And this week, talking about Austin Aiken, they gave up 64 in the first week to Hayes. How do you get your kids not to be too relaxed about this game?
It's the good thing is we play Aikens every year, so we kind of
Yeah.
our kids know what to expect. It's not like a new opponent we're playing for the first time. We use this week as an opportunity. Obviously, the goal is to win first and foremost, and but we also use it as an opportunity for us to kind of get back to some fundamental football. The last 2 weeks have been a lot of game plan scenarios. Game time scenarios about what do you do in this situation? What do you do with 2 minutes before halftime? What do you do? What do offense and defenses do on third and longs? We're teaching a lot of situational football, and then obviously installing the first true game plans of the season. With Aikens allows us to, to kind of dial it back a little bit when it comes to our schemes and really just focus on our technique and fundamentals, the best we can be. And hopefully, if we get out and to a fast start, then it might, allow us to play some of our younger guys and build some depth for our season. But obviously, our kids know we have to earn that right first. We have to go out and make sure that we are winning the football game and having it in control before anybody else gets to play, and that's the standard around here. But our ones can prepare like they're going to play for 4 quarters, and because we're preparing for a big 16-game season, hopefully, not just the 10 games that are on our schedule. So that's the standard here at Westlake, and these guys understand that. So we'll find out the maturity of our football team here pretty quick. We're about to start practicing, and if our kids come out and have a great practice, then it shows the makings of a championship team. If we come out and kind of just go through the motions, then all right, we might find ourselves with a headache full of Aikens here on Thursday night.
Yeah, well, hopefully you'll keep the streak going, 42-game winning streak. Last question, how about health? Any injuries you're dealing with?
Oh, yeah, there's always injuries in the season. Obviously, our place, we don't like to disclose, obviously, personal information for these kids. These are underage students, and we keep that information within our own program and allow their parents to obviously divulge that information should they choose to. But within our deal, we just, it's always next man up. There's always going to be guys down, and we pride ourselves on having depth.
Yeah.
We showed up this past week. We played 2 different quarterbacks this past week in our second game against Justin that didn't play week 1. And obviously there's other position groups that, have some guys maybe that were new in the second week that they weren't there the first week. There'll be new guys this week that weren't there the second week. And so we're more than just one player here, and our football team knows and our kids know that. And so we're going to try to continue to do that. Like I said, develop depth, and hopefully we know in 16-game season the guys are going to get hurt. And so that's why we train them up, to have quality backups and get those guys game experience when we can to be ready.
Sounds good. Coach Tony Salazar, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I'll get to practice.
You got it. Thanks so much, Chris.
Then I sat down with Galen Zimmerman from Dripping Springs, and Dripping Springs has really done it right. They've moved up to 6A. They moved up into that Austin-Westlake district, which you'll hear from the conversation, but they're doing it right. Things are working out well for them right now. All right, everybody join me in welcoming Coach Galen Zimmerman from Dripping Springs to the show. Coach, how are you this morning?
Well, I'm doing really well. Just got to come off the field from practice today on our bye week. So, just trying to get everybody's legs back underneath them. Had a good morning practice, though.
Very nice, very nice. And you've had a good run already. You shocked a lot of people moving up to 6A. You're 2-0 right now. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, we're pretty fortunate. I know our non-district schedule, we scheduled intentionally with some really good, 6A programs. I know Wagner moved down to 5A this year, but they've been in 6A in a pretty stout district. So we scheduled that because we knew our district was going to be tough, and we needed to be tested early. And both Vandergrift and Wagner are really good football programs, just very different, and different offenses completely. A little bit of difference on defense, just so we could see some different styles and test our kids in all 3 phases. And I'm really really proud of them and how they responded. Going into Vandegrift first game is not a easy place to play.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate, to get the victory. It was a great game back and forth. Just really proud of how our kids came out week one and, really continued this last week in our home opener against Wagner. And, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this team can get. We've got a lot of room yet to improve, but really like where we're at, and I'm excited about what we could be, going into the playoffs, hopefully.
Definitely. And talk about some of the kids that have stepped up and played major roles already.
Well, right now, defensively, we've played 2 games back-to-back, really, and it starts up front. Elijah Gonzalez and Nathan Prehar, Raphael Sewin, Rio Hay, those are just some of the names, those defensive linemen. Johnny Martinez, they've really, they're playing bigger than they are because we're a little undersized. And then, our linebacking core, which is got a bunch of returners, Luca Bacucci, Bryson Amrine. I can't name them all, but I tell you what, all 4 of our linebackers, Vickery, those guys have played phenomenal, and again in the secondary, some guys that, Grayson Jones coming off of an injury last year, coming back, and Gunnar Betts, Keller Stafford, Gabe Quintana. I mean, there's those guys coming back with experience, and then we've added some young guys in there that really played well. I'm really excited about where we're headed defensively, and I mean the first game we had 24 guys get some reps on defense, so we've got some guys ready to go. Landon Ricard and JD Castine that as safety, and I mean so we can plug some guys in, and then offensively. Really been excited about our offensive line play because that was kind of the question. We had some new guys there, but they've stepped up. I mean, we've got to get better. We're gonna see some defensive lines with Bowie and Lake Travis and Westlake that are just phenomenal. But offensive skill wise, really, the quarterback Austin is, he's as advertised, I think. We've been a little banged up at receiver. We're starting to get some guys back. And that's with adding like a Joe Moreland coming in. We did add a Braden Vaughn, moving in as well on our D-line. But, so there's a couple move-ins that have helped. But, big bulk of it has been those guys have been on our program for 4 years. And, a good surprise is we've got, our running back left last year. He went to Oregon. He's on the team there now. And we've had, by committee at running back, Cade Curry and Jack Tyndall. Theo Howard was our starter game 1. He's been injured. And so, we've got a running back by committee, but those guys have been doing a good job. I've really been proud of them because they've got some big shoes to fill after the last 3 years, and been really solid. So we need to continue to work on our timing with everything. I think we've played okay offensively, but still the potential there is really off the charts if we can just get our timing back, and it's been a little hard just because it's been a little bit of a rotation with some of these injuries and different things, and so I'm really excited about what we can be going into district and have an opportunity to be looking really good at the end, and then special teams wise, we've played just solid across the board. Not perfect, but just really really solid. And it's one thing that you want, special teams wise, you never want to get beat with the special teams, and if you can make an extra play or two, and that's what we've been able to do the first 2 games.
Very cool. And you didn't get any favors by the district that you got placed in. Yeah, talk about that district and what you expect.
Well, it was kind of what we expected. I mean, I don't know that going up to 6A there was anywhere else but to go with Lake Travis and Westlake and go into that district with those other teams that have been in there with them. So it was expected. You know, you'd prefer your first year in 6A not to be put with the number 1 team in the state for the last couple of years. But, you know, our kids have, you know, we've been playing them in our middle school district, and so they know each other. You know, now we've got, you know, we understand that's another level, and we've got to mature and we've got to get better, and you know that's where we're trying to get. And it's going to be tough. We know for sure we've got 2 perennial powers in district, and then there's a handful of other teams that are just really solid, you know, good programs that you can't take anything for granted. And so I've been happy with our kids and how they prepare. And I think if you're, you know, preaching about preparation and they're buying into it, you know, that's going to breed some consistency, and we're going to have a shot in most games. You know, we've got to we still got to grow a little bit, you know, to get to that next level. But you know, starting out so far in 6A, I've been really excited about how our kids have responded.
Definitely. And what is the focus on a bye week? What do y'all do?
Well, we're trying to, you know, take the load off, I think, collision-wise, but without losing the focus, without losing the sense of urgency at practice. You know, try to get some legs back under you. And there's a couple kids that are, you know, they're not injured, but they've got some nicks and dings, and we're trying to help those guys get healthy, and then because it's going to be, once we come back, it's, you know, 8 games in a row in a really tough district. Yeah. So we're going to need everybody, and but at the same time, still, you know, you don't want to lose your timing, so everything has to be full speed, even if it's not, you know, a tackle or a collision. But you know, we want to make sure that we don't lose our edge, and at the same time have the ability to get healthy and feel refreshed. You know, bye week came with Labor Day, and you know, first time I think ever in 26 years of coaching, we had 2 days off. Gave the coaches Sunday and Monday off, be with family, and I think that, you know, mentally as much as anything, that's a good refresher. And get back this morning and get after it.
Sounds good. Well, Coach Galen Zimmerman, I want to thank you so much for all you're doing, for being a guest on the show, and good luck this season.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, and I mentioned earlier that Vandergrift had a big win. Lone Star Gridiron Steve Thomas caught up with head coach Drew Sanders.
Last week you didn't run the ball particularly well, but this, I mean, you kind of bossed them there.
Yeah, we were more physical up front. The O-line took it as a personal challenge. We thought we were not the most physical team last week, and we had something to prove, and you saw that also. We came into it with something to prove.
And I have to ask about Miles Coleman. A breakout performance like this, I mean, was that coming?
We always knew Miles was special. You guys just didn't know that. And so watch him all year. He's going to make a lot of plays.
What was the tone at practice this week?
Monday and Tuesday, I will tell you, Monday and Tuesday was like we were going against opposing teams in our good-on-good sections. Coaches were coaching hard. I mean, that loss, if we'll use it the right way, it could be exactly what this young team needed, and hopefully we'll continue to get better and better.
So it definitely lit a fire under them?
For sure.
For number 72 getting his touchdown,
we've had that play in forever. It's called Blue Jay, and it was named after Jay Gray, who played for us years ago. He almost scored on it. We hadn't run it in about 3 years. We practiced it every week, and when he called it, I got the towel, and I made sure we called a time. They called a timeout, so we got the towel. We dried off Ian's hands, make sure his gloves were dry, and he caught the pass and bowled over at least half their team.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you played this team every year that you've
every year we've existed. Right,
Yeah,
it's the biggest defeat in our series history for sure. We've never won by 45 points.
And does it add anything? Like you feel like there's like a rivalry or kind of like respect, rivalry or kind of respect there, or like.
Well, there's always respect for good opponents.
Yeah.
I've been beaten many times by Cedar Park, and so I will admit it's kind of nice to be on the winning side of it the last 3 or 4 times. They're still a great program.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to win tonight, and we go from there.
Yeah. I remember. I think it might have been last year. You were saying like there's an idea like little brother growing up.
That was last year. I said that last year.
You think that's definitely.
I mean, I don't know. I said that last year. I don't want to use that line again.
Yeah.
So, I am. It's always good to go against a great state championship program like Cedar Park. Hats off to them. But I am glad that our guys stepped and rebounded. It's about us, and we rebounded from that last loss, and I'm really pleased with that.
You mentioned how you rebounded. How important is it now to not get too hard?
You're exactly right. And so we'll see how once again, I had so many new starters. We had 9 new starters on defense. Mm-hmm. So we've got to figure out who we are. Yeah. We're in that process. We got another game to do that, and we got Sony. So hopefully they'll listen to me. If they'll listen to me, I think we'll be okay. But sometimes, they don't necessarily do that.
That works out pretty
well.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff.
You're listening to the Lone Star Gridiron Sports Network.
Let's run through some of the games that are coming up this week. San Antonio Harlan going up against San Antonio Brennan, 2 top 5 rated schools. This should be a good one. Bryan goes up against Brenham. Waco Hewitt Midway takes on that Vandegrift team. Hutto against Cibolo Steel. Round Rock Westwood goes up against Bastrop. Aikens takes on Westlake. As a lot of districts are starting district play right now. Buda Johnson, also in that district, takes on Lake Travis. New Braunfels versus New Braunfels Canyon. You gotta love those cross-city rivalries. Leander Glen will take on Leander Rouse. Bernie Champion pitted against Canyon Lake. Hayes Consolidated takes on Bastrop Cedar Creek. San Antonio MacArthur and San Antonio Veterans Memorial will get it on. Austin Eastside Memorial will take on Luling. Liberty Hill versus Georgetown should be a good one. Burnett versus Brownwood. And Brownwood reminds me, you should listen to the Lone Star College Football Show we also do on Lone Star Gridiron. I have head coach Jason Bachtel from Howard Payne University on this week in Brownwood. So definitely tune into that one. Also, we have Davenport going up against Piper. One of them will win. Giddings will take on Lago Vista. Smithville will take on a Geronimo Navarro team. Blanco, with a new head coach, is trying to get things righted on that ship. They're taking on Comfort. And San Antonio Cole will host Goliad. Again, those are just a few of the games, and I want to take a second to thank you for tuning in and ask you, please use that call-in line we have, 713-568-6361. Call that number, leave a voicemail, let us know who your favorite team is. Give a shout-out to a player, a team, a coach, or just tell us what you would like to hear on this show. Tell us who we should be interviewing. Tell us which teams need more coverage. It's your show. You can decide how it develops. Once again, thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Chris Daly, reminding you to get out there and enjoy some Central Texas football.